Happy Sunday. Happy brunch, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for saying yes to my invite for brunch. Well, it is Sunday, and we find ourselves back again, you and I, having brunch together. You have a standing invitation. You can have brunch with me every Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Standard Time. Let me cross my legs and get comfy. How do you like the colors I'm sporting today, huh? Thought I would play with the idea of like a brown with a red and see what happens. Pretty cool, huh? Well, I've got my drinks here for our brunch. Uh, it's kind of nice to have brunch with so many wonderful people. But you know what I always do, which is kind of my ritual on Sunday. Oh, hi, Bugs Bunny. Hi, Christopher Iguala. Thank you for coming. So listen, you know how sometimes we have rituals? Well, my ritual on Sunday is that as I prep my room to have brunch with all of you, uh, I pack this with a ton of ice, about half an hour to 45 minutes before going live and some water. And that's kind of a message to me like, okay, I'm setting the stage. It's kind of a cool little thing I do for myself. I create a comfy little space for myself because I know we're going to be having brunch for the next, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long. I think Linda G is coming on at 1 p.m. I like when she announces, right? Because I'm a fan and I want to make sure that I get to see her stuff. So I think she's going to be on at 1. So I know that I will probably stay till about 12:30. I want to get off and so we can all go hang with her afterwards. So anyway, so this is my ritual. I like to have a little ice water. And then I always like to give myself a drink. It can be tea, it can be coffee, something like that for my brunch because, we really are having brunch together, even if we're doing it virtually. So here's my coffee. I feel like I'm losing weight because people wanted to know about me and weight loss and what I was doing. And I've been talking a little bit about it on Patreon. I have a Patreon and get to see my private life a little bit. But you know what's working for me with weight loss? I just went back to living the way I did back in Europe and Israel, which is eating really good quality food that I make myself from scratch that's not particularly expensive. And when you look at the way they eat in Italy, it's not expensive. It's pasta. But really taking the time to make the food really good quality and not stuffing myself the way in America you learn to really go crazy with food, right? Like that's one of the things I noticed when I came back to the United States is just the quantities, consuming more than we really need. So what I've done is I've just gone back to, a typical French woman's diet, which is, un petit pain, a little cheese, a little this, a little that. I don't drink wine. I don't drink alcohol. Bread, absolutely. Anything I want to eat, I eat. I keep in balance. I cut out sugar and except for a little chocolate occasionally. Um, yeah, I'm losing weight. If you want to have pasta with garlic sauce and cheese, go for it, but it doesn't have to be this portion. It's this portion with a big salad, and you don't stuff yourself. You're not going to die of starvation. It's just be, sophisticated. It's very nice food. Take a few bites, see what you like, try a little more. That was and then let it go. You're not going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to be starving at night. The problem with these 1200 kcal diets is you're starving, so you don't stick with it. Here's something you can do where you're not going to be starving. Just adjust. Cut out the sugar except on special occasions to, a little bit. Don't starve yourself. Be satisfied. Try to go to bed not stuffed. Don't eat anything like maybe a couple hours before. A little bit hungry. The idea is a little this, a little that, a little hungry before you go to bed. That's all you need to do to be a skinny French little whatever. My mother was French, and she had 7 children. I'm 6 of 7. She was 99 pounds with 7 children. But she gardened all day. She was a massive garden, and all of our own canning and preparing our own food and working all of the time. And when we never had seconds too. That's one thing I've noticed with her. She would make mini steaks, petite steaks, and we would all have a petite steak, and they would have a bottle of wine, one bottle of wine, not 20. And they would all have 1 or 2 glasses of wine, and then dinner would be done. And we never thought, it was not considered, nobody was starving to death or anything. I didn't know it was different until years later, and I started hanging out with my friends' families, and it was like a restaurant. I don't want this, I want that. I don't want this, I want this. And go make me this, go make me that. And the mother's trying to create separate meals for all the kids. I was like, whoa, this would never fly in my mother's home. You have appropriate manners. Everyone takes your petite steak. You have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Everyone is happy. Everyone is satisfied. You take your time. You clean your plate. That's the end of it. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing on my weight loss. So I think we've talked enough about that. I'm just happy because I went and looked at the scale and I'm down 6 pounds. Living like a French woman, 6 pounds. What did I eat this week? I roasted a chicken in a Spanish style. I roasted it and then I took it out and then I brushed it at a lower, then you drop it to about 350, 400. I brushed it with olive oil and crushed garlic and balsamic vinaigrette and Roma tomatoes and put it back in. You can also throw olives in or capers. That's a very Spanish way of doing it. And I had a mixed green salad through the week, and I made homemade bread. I made my own homemade bread, which is what my mother would do. We rarely bought bread. We made our own bread. And so I had a little bread, a very large green salad, and some balsamic chicken with Roma tomato and garlic. Was it expensive? Of course not. $2-3 a serving, cheaper than McDonald's. And yet, if you were to go to a Spanish or French restaurant and order that, how much are you going to pay? So it's not expensive to live like a French aristocrat. You just have to, that's why my other channel is called Broke Aristocrats. We give you the good life. Just takes a little effort, right? All right. I think we've talked enough, and I think everybody who's going to be here is showing up. We've got almost 400 people here. So let's give gratitude. Let's get this party started. We're going to talk about the remote views. I think my cough from my allergy is doing a little bit better. I did take Allegra last night. It's 24 hours. And so hopefully I should be okay. Alexandra Montclair is in the house. Hi, Alexandra. Good to see you here. Susan Kelly, welcome. Ocean 80, hello. Jeffrey Stein. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to see you here. Happy Sunday. Sue Malik is in the house. Hello, hello. Equus 333, welcome to see here. Good to see you here. Timeless Freedom. Hi, great to see you. Sherry Clark. Thank you, Geriatric Brig, for helping us today. Sarah Stillwater is a member still and going strong. Desiree Robato, a member, and she's helping us moderate. Pierre Walker, we're glad to see you here. Hi, Vicki, good to see you. Exilda Smith, hello. And yeah, I think I've said hi to Redwoods is here, a member, and she's helping today. Very grateful. All right, so Frida Stranger is kind of asking the question that we all want to know, isn't she? She says, will the EU and NATO finally get involved since these horrific deaths on the citizens have been proven? It's genocide. Let's go through the remotes, shall we? Everybody ready for the remote views for the week? Where is it? Any comments before we go through it? already. Hi, Mark. Hello. I want to give a shout out of gratitude. It's good to see Mark here. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to thank everybody who wished me a happy birthday and sent me presents. Mark Rhodes, who's a good friend to me and to the channel, sent me this delicious chocolates. I got them yesterday, and it's perfect for a French woman, right? Who is doing the French diet, which means eat whatever the hell you want. Just have it be extremely good quality. You are an aristocrat, and like an aristocrat, do not be gluttonous. Just everything in moderation, right? So, so the good news is that I can have one of these, occasionally with my coffee. And that's nice because they get to last. But let me show you how beautiful the Timothy Adams chocolates are. You can order them online if you want to send them as a gift. They come out of San Francisco. Dear Whimsy, happy birthday. Love you, Mark Rhodes. So there it is. But look at these chocolates. Timothy Adams, and they're in San Francisco if you would like to order or send a gift. So you have this nice presentation, and then you have a nice enjoy that it comes with. And look at the beauty. Absolutely beautiful. You know how some readers will say, pick a card and we'll give you a reading? I was kind of interested when I looked at this. I thought, well, which one would the average person in my in my audience select? Like, what does that say about you as a person based on which one you would pick? Like, what would be your first pick of the Timothy Adams chocolates? What do you think? Take a good look. You may have one. Which one would you pick? Because I know which one I'm picking. I don't know. They all look so damn good. So this one looks really good to me because that looks like it's a dark chocolate. But I actually liked this down here. I like those rose colors. A lot of people at the Fairies and Angels, we had the get together this weekend. Fairies, Angels, empaths, healers, benefactors. We get together on Saturdays. A lot of people picked that yellow orange one. That looked delicious. And look at this one here. This looks very complicated up here. And a lot of people like that green healing chakra one. Each of these, it's kind of, look at it. It's almost like chakras, isn't it? Like this is almost like the second chakra there. This is like the heart chakra. This is like the third chakra. Isn't that lovely? So again, thank you so much, Mark. I love you. And we want to wish Mark a happy birthday. His birthday, I believe, was it March 11th? Please forgive me if I got it wrong. To you as well, Mark. A Piscean with a beautiful soul, dearly loved. Okay, so while I'm finding my notes here, yes, my notes. One of the things we've talked about in remote views in the past has to do with the fact that everything that's going on right now has a bigger purpose to it, which has to do with trade, and the World Trade Organization is there. And the World Trade Organization, I'm sorry, 12th? Well, I owe you lunch, by the way, Mark. The next time I see you, I will buy you lunch for your birthday. He took me out to a beautiful Italian restaurant the last time I saw him. March 12th, I will never forget now. But I want to take you out the next time I see you. All right, so what happened is this. So to go back to the World Trade Organization, according to Putin, this is how it feels to me when I go into the energy, has been partial to NATO. It should not be partial to anybody, right? It should be that the World Trade Organization gets together with the UN. This is the bigger picture where I found myself in my remote. And they negotiate, they set prices. So if you're bringing property in from Central Asia, these are old trade routes, right? Exactly. So these are routes that go back to the Silk Road. All that pricing has to be worked out, right? So what happened was that Putin felt and Russia felt that from their perspective, this is war aside. I'm not talking about war or violence or anything like that. Even if you're the most ethical country in the world, there was this feeling of encroachment from NATO, and they were bringing in the military to do what? To protect the trade and the commerce of their allies over the people that were not considered their allies. And so there became a bias from the Russian perspective. And this is a bias that's been going on for a long time. Also, there's resentment from Russia because Russia shares a border with China, right? So a lot of goods could come in through Russia, and so Russia could control trade. The Arabs were controlling some trade. So there are also different religions, right? You've got multiple religions happening. You've got the Catholics over here, you've got the Church of England, you've got the Russian Orthodox. So you also had that to play with. So he built up his Chechnyan fighters to protect him. Putin did, from the fact that pro-NATO Saudis were coming in and trying to break down Chechnyan protection of the area. So that is, from their perspective, what all of this is about. How do they get in? How do they normalize relations with the West when they constantly are feeling like we are encroaching on them? Now, from the perspective of NATO, oh, that's absurd. How could Ukraine be encroaching on you? But when you look at trade, when you look at the Black Sea and control of the Black Sea, when you look at what it's like to be the other, it makes a lot of sense, war aside, that you would begin to feel, if you were China and Russia and you're over here and NATO is taking control over Central Asia and over the routes, and well, we're going to charge you $2, but we're going to charge you 10. When it starts to feel that way and your country is feeling boxed in, that's really the energy of Putin, this feeling of being increasingly boxed in. So, he has something like what? 80 something percent support right now. First off, because he controls the media, but also because a lot of people agree with him. I think that at this rate, he's probably going to be charged with war crimes, and they're going to get rid of him because he becomes somebody that they can't really afford. At the same time, they sympathize with him because they do feel that they've been bullied to some extent by NATO. As it stands right now, there's a lot of people that feel that Ukraine should never be part of NATO for the reasons that Putin is arguing, that it creates an imbalance. At the same time, it goes back to the remotes in the past about the Black Sea and that trade area. And if they can't work these trade deals out, we're going to continually see war and instability on the Black Sea. That's basically the conclusion. So it's also a feeling here that Russia is going to have to bring somebody else in that can actually work with the West without it escalating into something violent like this, which is why I recommended mediation 3-4 years ago when I went into this as a remote viewer. People asked my opinion. I said, well, it's obvious they're fighting over trade and who's going to have control of the Black Sea and pricing, etc. So it seems to me that this should be worked out with mediation, WTO and UN, NATO, etc. And that didn't happen. So the feeling of being boxed in and feeling threatened escalated, whether it was justified or not. But I see Putin in jail. So yeah, I think he will be handed over by the oligarchs. Also, he's attempted to kill his own people. He's attempted to kill his colleagues, his oligarchs. It's not like he's killing somebody that nobody cares about. He's trying to kill some of the most powerful people in the world, and that's a mistake. Powerful people who are Mossad operatives. I mean, Abramovich is dual citizen with Israel. He's very powerful. Of course, he's going to be curious about the fact that Golani fighters, which is the equivalent of like Navy SEALs, Israeli Navy SEALs, they're called Golani. They've basically gone into Kyiv And they've secured the perimeter for Zelinksy, who is also a dual citizen with Israel. So you have the Israeli connection as well. So you have Abramovich, who's a wealthy Israeli Russian oligarch who I think basically funded Zelinski's campaign, and that's why Israel has a vested interest in making sure Zelinski stays safe. It's complicated. We can open up the floor and talk to people about it. How do you feel about, does anybody here have any sympathy at all for Russia? I'm not talking about the war, but just the feeling of being boxed in and not being allowed to get trade out and being sabotaged by the West. Does anybody feel that he has a legitimate argument about that? What could they have done? What could Russia have done to secure trade and to not have been subjected to this type of manipulation at NATO and via WTO? Yeah, I think a lot of people are going down. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump wound up in jail. Yeah, I think that, which is also what David Johnson has said. And David Johnson's quite a good reader, but he's felt the same way. This is not. There's no reason Trump wouldn't wind up in jail. In fact, it'd probably be a good idea if he did wind up in jail, because it would send a message to a lot of people, wouldn't it? Okay, so we've been going for about 25 minutes. I just wanted to reiterate what the remote view is. So, and I think that they will, kick him to the curb. I did some other remote views that were light and fun, but I didn't know if anyone wanted to hear them. I did a remote view of what it was like to be Chris Rock the last couple of days. I didn't know if anyone wanted to know about that, what it was like to be Will Smith, just because I got really curious about that story. And then I thought, is anybody going to want to hear about that? So I don't know if anybody wants to hear my remote view on Chris Rock, but I did get to be Chris Rock for about 10, 20 minutes. So that was kind of interesting. Is that everything I have for you guys? Check and see if this is everything I have. That trade route that I saw last night with Putin and the whole Chechenian thing and the whole WTO not being too biased and all I didn't know this stuff. I got to go back and take a look at what he's saying about the WTO being biased. I honestly don't know this stuff. Everyone thinks you're so smart. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I don't even totally understand what the WTO is, World Trade Organization. I got to go and figure out what Putin's accusing them of. So I had a dream, or no, I didn't have a dream, excuse me. I did HCRV long form 2 nights ago because somebody had said, is Chris Rock going to sue Will Smith? So then I thought, okay, I'll go be Chris Rock for a day. Who doesn't want to be Chris Rock for a day? So I put myself in the shoes of what it was like to be Chris Rock. And I was in so much shock about what had happened when it initially happened that I was a little bit out of my body. I was kind of like a little bit out of my body, but smiling and everything. And I was on automatic. The day that it happened, I was kind of on automatic. And like, I don't totally understand what's happened to me. So I felt out of my body. And I just went on automatic as a comedian, just trying to be the professional, but I was a little out of it. And it's true, processing it. When I got onto the stage, I didn't feel scared that somebody was going to come up and hit me. It didn't enter my mind. Like, I wasn't too worried that somebody was going to come up and hit me the night I performed as Chris Rock. But a lot of people had been giving me advice as Chris Rock's. Most people had told me not to sue, that it would look bad if I sued, that I should let it go. that it's already looking bad enough for Will Smith, and for me to sue would only make things worse. And when I asked myself, am I going to sue as Chris Rock, I heard myself say, no, I have enough money. I don't need Will Smith's money. I got enough money of my own. I don't need his money. So if I don't need Will Smith's money, but he's created something in film history that's going to live on in infamy forever, and my reputation and my career is attached to it, how do I get myself out of this? Because I can't exactly erase what's on film. I'm having a real hard time feeling like I should sue Will Smith as Chris Rock, because I feel like there's no point, and because I feel like I'm already doing fine financially, and I don't need Will Smith's money. But I think that what may happen is some kind of private settlement or some kind of private thing that happens. Here's the thing with Will Smith. I think it's very possible that other people could sue him, including the Academy. There could be lawsuits against him, against his production company, against him directly. But the main concern I had for Chris Rock is concern of PTSD, that I would start to have mental health problems down the road if I don't process this, because I was in shock and I was just on automatic as a comedian, and I'll process this later. But then as I process it, I'm thinking, I'm starting to have an actual fear of being attacked again. So because that is where I'm headed, as I start to process what's actually happened to me, that's when the PTSD could come up. And that's going to affect my career. If I'm afraid to go out and say what I want to say as a comedian, I'm afraid that I'm going to get attacked. Yeah, I need some counseling for that. Because no comedian wants to feel that way. Like, I can't go out and I can't perform because I'm afraid something's going to happen to me. Or, how am I going to handle it if I get asked back to the Academy Awards next year? I'm going to make a joke and I'm going to be fine, but he needs a little therapy after this. So that's how I felt. How I felt as Will Smith is I felt like my marriage is now officially over and we're probably getting a divorce. It was a weird remote view I did as Will Smith. I found myself in a room on an oak bed, and the oak bed was a beautiful oak bed with white lace, and I was lying in it. It was very solid oak. It was a very heavy bed. And as I was looking at the bed, which was in Will Smith's room, I said, wow, you really like French colonial design, don't you, Will? And I was sitting in the room and it was colonial, and there were antiques from French antiques, which were part of New Orleans art. And his private room, it looked like it was New Orleans, 19th century, 18th century New Orleans, French colonial. That was kind of how Will Smith's room appeared to me. It wasn't that Adobe design that they did in his house. This was a separate room that was French colonial. And I remembered when I was sitting in the room with Will Smith, because he was sent to his room for a couple of days. I remember as I was sitting there with him while he was Will Smith, while he was processing everything in his bedroom, I remember thinking, not to change the subject, because I realize, Mr. Smith, that you're going through a lot of stuff, and I'm here to listen because I am a remote viewer. But I must say, Mr. Smith, you have the most exquisite taste in furniture. I just love that old antique French colonial Louisiana style that evidently Mr. Smith is in love with as well. So that was the first thing I felt. The other thing I felt was controlled by my wife as Will Smith. I felt like Jada Pinkett was my mother. I felt like I had my own room that we in separate parts of the house. And she said something to me to the effect of, where's dad? Where's daddy? Well, dad's in his room contemplating his actions. So he was to go into his room. Will Smith was to go into his room. This is me as Jada Pinkett Smith, and think about his behavior and think about his actions for the next couple of days. And how do you feel about how you behaved? And I want you to take your journal, your paper, and your pen into your room. And I want you to write down everything you did, how you feel. And I think you're going to have to start making some apologies to some people. But you have to think about what you did, because that's how we do things in our house. Will, this is what we did with the children, and this is what daddy has to do too. We go into our rooms, we spend some time with ourselves, and we think about our behavior. And so when the children ask, where's Will? Why isn't he picking up the phone? Why isn't he picking up the phone? He's in his room. He's fine. He needs some time to himself, and he's doing some writing. He's writing some apology letters, and he's thinking about his behavior. That beautiful room with that beautiful French colonial bed, crying and writing letters of apology. And when he's ready, he'll come out. That dynamic between them, I can't imagine being able to feel like a man with being married to somebody like that. I just can't. It was a timeout, Cherish. That's right. Daddy's taking a timeout. He's in his room. He's fine. Do you really want to be out of your room right now? Do you really want to be here right now? You need to be in your room, thinking about your behavior. And so he was in his room, lying on his bed at his French colonial desk, writing apology. I'm sorry, mommy, that I did. That's what I saw. And then he had to contact his publicist. Here's what I wrote here. Okay, well, we'll work with it a little bit. We'll release, and things he had to work out. Like he was told to resign from the academy early because he was about to be banned for life. But the fact that in good, he agreed to leave means that maybe in another 3, 4, 5, 10 years, he may be invited back. But if he hadn't done that, he would have possibly faced being banned for life. So it was advised probably by management and by his publicist to resign from the academy ahead of time, because if he hadn't done that, they would have permanently banned him. They'll probably still ban him, but now they may leave the door open a little bit because of what he did. I'm surprised. See, I was actually not going to give you guys the remote because so many people were like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And I thought, well, I did do the remote on Will and Jada and the academy if you guys want to hear it. It sounds like you guys did want to hear it. So that's what I have for you regarding, it's none of my business what those two are up to, but I can say, just as an observer, I don't think that's a healthy dynamic for a marriage, because people have to come at it equally. At the same time as Will Smith, he's like, well, I make my children do this. Daddy's walking the walk. This is what we do in our household. You go, you think about your behavior. Are you good with your behavior? Because in the end, that's all that matters. Can you look in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm good with my behavior. You shamed the family. Now everybody thinks your wife was part of the thing, so she's not too happy about it. You embarrassed yourself before the academy. You ruined your career. Nobody wants to work with you. They're afraid you're going to punch them. So there you have it. All right. So I'm about done with that. And time's a wasting. Would everybody like to get a public reading? We can do the empath's prayer and do a collective reading for people. It looks like Debbie Brady has given the order. Okay, Debbie. Debbie's got high ranks here. She is a moderator and a member, so we got to step it up here. Facts and fiction wanted to delve deeper into the relationship, of course, because these are archetypes for us, right? So famous people become archetypes for us, and by learning about their relationships, we learn something about ourselves and our own dynamics. And that's why I think it's fascinating for people. I wish them all the best. I mean, no one's perfect, but that was that. Okay, Mark Rhodes is also giving me the order. Let's do it. Let's give ourselves a group reading. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic Records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, for our families, for the planet, for the people we love, but also to help those we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say, Amen. So people were asking, wait, Will Smith has a separate bedroom from, yes, they're rich enough. Wouldn't you want your own room if you were rich enough? Of course he has his own room. All right, community prayer. Message from Spirit. What's funny when you do a remote and you describe a room or a location or what people are up to and you try to get as in depth as possible with what you see is that I do think like the audience, depending upon how good the remote is, I felt pretty solid about that remote. I think most people, when they hear a solid remote, say, yeah, that's a solid remote. And when it's not a solid remote, they'll say, go back in. But that felt like a pretty solid remote for all of the people involved in that. Okay, where we are at right now. 9 of Wands. 9 of Wands can be a feeling that we're still kind of getting over everything that's going on in the world. Man, if you just watch the news, it is terrifying. I'm like thinking all of us should just watch maybe 30 minutes a day. We need a timeout on the news because it can be very scary. Threats of nuclear war from Putin, the hyperinflation, the stock market. I mean, there's global warming, the drought. Come on, man. Can we catch a break? It's a feeling that, oh my God, everything is ending. There's very little coverage about everything positive that's going on in the world. Where we're at right now, 9 of Wands, feeling defensive, feeling kind of cornered a little bit. Oh, hope that's okay. Something's going on with my computer. It's taken over. No, I don't want to do that right now. And then where we're at right now is mastery. Look, we can't control for all the crazy that's going on. And if we spend all of our days watching all this negativity, it's going to have such a negative impact on you, me, and everybody else. We're going to be afraid to go out the front door. Too much watching the news, which can happen as we get older, is associated with agoraphobia, fear of the outside world, fear of something frightening. I don't want this for any of us, this fear of the outside world, 9 of Wands. And then we have mastery. Instead, it would be better if we focus on the things that we're actually interested in that are going to improve our lives and our own knowledge and our own pursuit. Go back to what you love. 6 of Cups. Nice romantic energy for you in the next month. Looks like some of you are going to have a social life again. Ace of Wands is moving in with a 6 of Cups. Within 1 month, you could be starting to have some real romantic and social interest, some nice socializing happening. Work on mastery, work on the things that you can control, and you'll be okay financially. Do not waste all this time on things you have no control over. Look at this. Focus instead on your business, mastery. defensive about the outside world. Look at this. Ace of Wands, entrepreneurship, success over what? Love and romance, doing what you love, returning back to the things you love. What is above you? Ace of Pentacles. So there's money coming for you as well. Some of you could be having more work coming to you, financial gains, inheritance. What you're sitting in, you want your wish. Some of you may desire to travel. What you're coming out of, scholarship. You guys are smart. I attract the smartest audience. I'm blown away by how smart some of you are. But look at this, scholarship around you, knowledge, learning. Look at this, mastery is what you are is your karma. What you're headed towards, the sun is coming out. It's going to be a fun summer for people. Very good money wise. I see good money for the summer. I know people are afraid of the stock market and massive inflation. But I don't see that here. Where we are at right now, financial stability, again, the Queen of Pentacles, others in relationship to us, we have really closed the door on some relationships, hopes and fears, taking leaps, taking new challenges in our career, future, etc. Final outcome, the dreamer, the Queen of Cups. You're a bit of a dreamer. 2 job opportunities in the next couple of months. You could be diversifying and looking at passive incomes. 2 of Pentacles is coming to you in the second house. Others in relationship. Ooh, you've weeded out a lot of relationships. You're going to start really only focusing on cultivating those relationships that are honest and real, and getting rid of superficial relationships where you feel like you can't be authentic because it's too much work. Your final outcome, success in business, being grounded. This is a very grounded energy. And I think a lot of you are going to be dating and being social within 1 month. Financially, a lot of you are going to be doing very well for yourselves if you focus on what you need to do to put yourself ahead professionally and spend less time being freaked out about what's going on in the world and more focusing on your stuff. You'll do very well for yourself financially this spring and summer. And for those people who want a love life, it looks like you're going to be dating sooner rather than later. But good money cards for you. If you want to improve your finances, start a couple side hustles or whatnot, now's a good time to do it, because the crown of your house was wealth. Look at this, and scholarship and entrepreneurship. Also, look at this, love comes to you in the summer. You guys are going to have the choice is yours. We can sit around and watch the news and freak out. The world is coming to an end. I need to, we can hide under the pillows with our chocolate, or we can snap out of it and say, I have no control over this. I got to get on with my life and just focus back on what you do. And you can freak out for 30 minutes a day. You may give yourself permission to have a meltdown about what's going on for half an hour, but then you've got to ultimately get on with your life and what are you doing to make the world a better place. And so it seems to be quite good for those of us who snap out of it and just focus on us. You're going to be doing great this year. Just remember to focus on you and to not put so much emphasis on what's going on out there. Okay, so it looks like we have a bunch of questions. If you do have a question for me, you can either direct it to one of the moderators, or you can put a big red question mark. That's usually how I find them, because we get so many questions. We've got 770 people here. If you haven't had a chance yet to just click the like for this channel, it really helps with the algorithm. And so we're going to go ahead. As soon as I get the order, we should probably do some blitzing away. Does that work for people? Okay, I'm just going through this. I can't see your questions. Artist Mama had a good question, but there's no question mark. Why hasn't Mark Meadows been charged with, oh, there's the question mark. See, I can't. Okay, so here's a question about Mark Meadows from Artist Mama. Now that I've gotten the order, we can go ahead and blitz away. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to get through as many blitzes as we can. What's the story with Mark Meadows? Don't do diets. Stop with the dieting. Just be like a French woman. Enjoy good food. Just don't be gluttonous. And do a lot of walking. And go to bed a little hungry. That's all. So if you get to bed by 10, 11, have your last meal be around 7, 8, 9. It takes care of your acid reflux too if you do that. Okay, so the story with Mark Meadows, the truth is coming out about Mark Meadows. It's a really good question. Why wasn't Mark Meadows charged? You can see here, Archangel Michael, the sword of truth. He's trying to get out of there. The fact that his karma card is the 6 of Swords means he could be able to slither out of there without being potentially prosecuted. Where he's at right now, states evidence, 6 of Cups, giving a gift. There's something here about gifts being offered and a new beginning for him in the springtime, something about a gift. He must be secretly cooperating. There may be some private deal going on with the Justice Department because you can see these cards that would denote gift giving. The karmic wheel is right above Mark Meadows. So his karma is coming to him. Look at that in his 4th house, which is heaven's energy. It's what's coming down the pike. What he sits in, trying to be reasonable. Look, there's a part of him that's trying to be rational about his situation. Because the Emperor, oh, that Allegra worked really well. I can breathe really well. Allegra, people. If you've got allergies, Allegra. So he's actually, not change the subject, but the fact that he has an emperor sitting in his 3rd house, that would indicate that this person is being very logical, very practical. That's what you marinate in your 3rd house. That's what you sit in a Celtic cross. He is sitting in being rational, and he knows there's something new around the pike happening this spring because this is my Aries baby. That's my spring baby, the time of wood. The springtime in Chinese medicine. What he's coming out of, sobriety. This guy already knows he's in trouble. He's already gotten sober and he's already helping people. Look, his past placement, sobriety. His karma is coming. Being very logical. Trying to pull himself out of a rough situation. The sword of truth is on his lips. Loose lips sinks ships. Yeah, for sure. For sure he's negotiating to stay out of prison. And he's very in touch with reality. Look, the hidden will be revealed in his 6th house. This is the high priestess. She is the bearer of the light. Ta'or. Or is Hebrew for light. Imuna is truth, faith, imuna in Hebrew. So, Bina is understanding. These are Kabbalistic terms, right? That are associated with the high priestess. It's the hidden being revealed. It's the feminine aspects. It's the moon energy. He's got a ton of evidence. Mark Meadows accumulated a lot of evidence over the time that he served the White House. He has a ton of evidence. Where he's at right now, 9 of Pentacles, holding evidence. Look at that. Look at how secure he is. Look at how much evidence he's sitting on. You know, I have a real problem with these people that just do whatever the hell they want. They sit back, they collect dirt on people, and then they don't have to worry about going to prison because they've collected all these boxes of data on people. The other in relationship to him, That would be Trump and everybody that he's basically turning on. They're so screwed. I can't tell you how screwed they are. Five of Pentacles, poverty, walking away from the broken man. This is almost looking like there are people that will not return Trump's phone call. Locked out of the church. It's interesting when you do remote viewings on evangelical fundamentalist preachers, they got a lot of dirt on these people, like Jerry Falwell's son, and then they used the churches. They collected money from the churches, and they became basically free tax havens for the Republican Party. So these churches became weird cults that were there to do one thing and one thing only: raise money for Republican candidates. Isn't that crazy? The hope and the fear for Mark Meadows. You know that the Three of Pentacles is a real estate card, but I also use it in an investigation as an investigation evidence card. So his concern is evidence. He's concerned about the evidence being presented by feds. I'm scared. Oh God, I'm scared of the 10th card. You know, when you read cards this clearly on somebody, the cards for Mark Meadows are so clear. I'm just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. What will be with Mark Meadows? The Queen of Cups, rubbing her lap. So, you know, he got pulled into the la-la. He got pulled into the delusion. This is the thing with people who have personality disorders. They live in their own world. It's a fantasy. And then they pull you along and then you get sucked into it. It's a cult. And then you snap out of it. You know, like now he's snapped out of it. Like, what the hell happened? The clarification for Mark Meadows. Lawyers, experts, masters, going through every single, look at this, the master's card over the evidence he was holding on to. This guy was a guy who took care of himself. Anytime he saw anything questionable in the White House, he collected it. And there's the masters over the evidence. His ongoing relationship with Trump, I would not be surprised if they weren't communicating at all. False night. Not on a white horse, false promises, hopes and fears about the evidence, cooperation. Final outcome. Oh, Knight of Wands, definitely going to war. Knight of Wands is quick, quick, quick. I think they're going to start charging people this month. Because, why do you feel that way? I can hear you guys. April. This is my April Aries card. And then the karma in the 4th house in April. And the fact that he's cooperating. The fact that Trump's house was the 8th house. He's shown, he turned his back on him. This Archangel Michael is there as the base of the matter, the sword of truth. The hidden is revealed in April. His karma comes to him. The charges are in April. So now is right about the time we should start seeing Merrick Garland prosecuted. What a great card chart. Thank you, artist mama. That was good. That was a very good question. That was fascinating. Was that fascinating? Oh my goodness. That was awesome. Oh, thank you, Wendy Burt, for those beautiful pictures. I appreciate that. So gratitude to everybody who's become a member. If you haven't had a chance to support the channel and subscribe, we do a lot of cool stuff. We teach heart-centered remote viewing on Tuesday nights to everybody who joins at the empath and healers level. If you're a fairy and an angel, we have private videos we do. We also have get-togethers on Saturday, spa day. And also we have a Patreon if you'd like to support us. So just wanted to mention that. And Wizio, if you need to get a quick 5-10 minute reading from me and you can't really afford a full reading because, you know, times are hard right now, I get it. Or if you just need a quick reading, you can go to Wizio. The information is below this video in the description box. You send me a question and then I send you a 5-10 minute video. And I usually can get back to questions within 72 hours, give or take. So just wanted to mention both of those. And thank you for the donations. I got a donation on PayPal. I still have to send a thank you. Thank you so much for the people who donate through PayPal. All right. Enough advertising. Let's get back to the juicy. All right. So can people please educate me? What did Joy Reid do? MSNBC is firing Joy Reid because they couldn't control her. When will the news be honest again? Joy Reid is being fired? Oh my God. I know she almost got fired because they found references on her Facebook page to homophobic statements, and then she claimed, oh, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. So that kind of made me uncomfortable about Joy Reid. Like, if you did it and you're admitting that you used to hold certain beliefs about people in the LGBTQ community, but you became educated and changed, just own it. Yeah, I used to be a bigot. I grew up, I got educated, I changed. But when she said, oh, I didn't write those quotes. Well, we know you did. It was, oh no, somebody hacked me. That's when I started to think maybe there's something not quite right about Joy Reid. Like, because if you do something wrong, like, just admit it. I was an asshole. I grew up. I fucked up. Pardon my French. But after I saw that, I felt a little bit like, I don't know about Joy Reid. I don't want to be anti anybody, but it made me uncomfortable. I never was able to feel totally comfortable with her after that whole controversy. But let's figure it out. Let's take a look. I don't know what happened. She's very educated. I know that. She's written books. I mean, she's the future of Joy Reid. We shouldn't just be able to fire someone because they say something stupid. People say stupid things. And then you grow up and you change and you apologize. You evolve. I mean, pulling up something somebody said 10, 15, 20 years ago, I don't know if that's entirely appropriate. On social media, I don't know. What's the future of Joy Reid? We'll do 4 cards. Joy Reid's future. She was offered a raise and a job. She's confused about it. She feels devastated, and she's okay financially. She was offered another job somewhere else. So even if she were to lose this job, she has a job somewhere else. She's confused about what's going on at MSNBC. And also there's a 10 of Swords here. She feels devastated by what's going on at MSNBC. Something has happened in her place of work where she feels confused and devastated. And she was offered some job that's also left her confused. She's going to be okay. 9 of Pentacles. She's financially stable. She has a very strong job. Over the confusion, there's a Knight of Cups. Somebody did something. Knight of Cups is deception, seducer. Somebody did something, is playing something with her, and she doesn't know how to interpret it. She has the ability to overcome this. She could be leaving MSNBC. The Chariot. But I see her becoming a producer and having a lot of power. So strong position with her work. Financial stability and Chariot. If she leaves for something better that's going to be far more profitable. I don't know anything about this, but I don't want to be dependent on MSNBC for my news because lately I've been watching Al Jazeera and France 24. just because I think I get better news out of Europe and out of Al Jazeera than I do out of the United States. I thought Brian Williams retired because he was like turning 70 or something. I wasn't aware that he got fired. Fox News is making these claims. Look, that woman had wealth cards. I'm not worried. She also looked like she was going to become a powerful producer. So I'm not worried about a Joy Reid. Rachel Maddow had a huge break. She's making a movie. So I'm not worried about her at all. Stephanie Rule. Yeah, she's working hard, Stephanie Rule, because she was CNBC. She's a stock analyst, right? She's the market analyst. BBC World is good. I watch BBC World. I watch Al Jazeera. I looked at non-biased news highest rating top 10 internationally, and Al Jazeera was like in the top 10, maybe even 2 or 3. I don't know why Americans are afraid of Al Jazeera just because it's produced in Dubai or whatever. It's like we got to bomb them because it's news out of Dubai. Take your meds. It's a good company, right? They do good. It's a good journalist company. So yeah, I look at their stuff a lot. Yeah, I love Rachel. She's good. Democracy Now! I watch sometimes, but yeah, I watch PBS. Dubai has problems, but Al Jazeera is a good company. I mean, it's got good. They're really good about journalistic excellence. Oh, Rachel is an Aries. I didn't know that. Oh, thank you for the donation, El Vigil. It's much appreciated. I love the Young Turks, but it's opinion. And opinion is fine, but I know my opinion. I just want facts on the ground. And so I like France 24 for that, Al Jazeera for that. I usually go with European companies. Australia, there's some good news out of Australia. And there's also some right wing news. You just kind of have to look at who has the best. Do I remote view historic events? Yes, I do. And it's a lot of the time, it's not quite what people think it is. Oh, you like Al Jazeera too? Yeah, they're good. France 24 is good. Yeah, Brian Williams, come on. The guy was a reporter for 40 years. Let him have a retirement. Joy graduated. Yeah, she's highly educated. Went to Harvard. David Pakman, again, it's opinions. It's fun, but it's not news. Oh, April 1st is her birthday. Aw, that's nice. I watched DW, the German crowd. Not bad, not bad. White House press secretary, she said she didn't want to, she wanted to do a year maximum, Jan Psaki. She went in saying, I'm not going to be here long. She said 6 months to a year. When she took the job, she said it was temporary. The chocolates I received was from Mark Rhodes, and it was for my birthday. And the company's name is Timothy Adams Chocolates, and they're based out of San Francisco, Timothy Adams, and they do ship. Sterling says Putin has colon cancers. Others have said Parkinson's and thyroid cancer. What do the cards say? Well, I did a remote. He was poisoned, and one time he got poisoned. It looked like he had to have almost like something with his kidney health. I think he was poisoned, and I think that he's afraid of his own people because he doesn't know who poisoned him. Oh, thank you, Christopher Guala, for that generous donation. Much appreciated. When is Russia going to withdraw its troops? Gregarious, I need big red question marks. Okay, when is Russia going to withdraw their troops? You know, they're trying to hold on to the South. We need to work this out because there's never going to be stability on the Black Sea. Y'all get it, right? You've been watching, you're educated people. Is there ever going to be stability on the Black Sea if we can't work this out? No. It's going to go on and on and on and on and on. And people are going to feel bullied with or without war if this kind of competition is happening on the Black Sea, right? And it's going to lead to also bizarre. Look, if one person controls the prices, then we're going to have inflation over here. Then this person's going to control this process. Then that's going to have inflation over here. And then we're going to have war. Well, I'm not going to trade to you and I control this route. And so I'm going to hold on to this product and it's going to go through the roof. Oh, yeah. Well, then I'm going to hold on to my product. This is why you need a World Trade Organization to come in and say, enough. We need to work this out. Russia wants this from the Black Sea. NATO wants, we're all going to have to be on the same page. It shouldn't have gotten to this point. They should have gone in. It's in a way what the guy from Russia was saying on MSNBC. We tried and tried and tried and nobody listened. There's truth to what he's saying, which is not the same as saying it's okay to go kill people. But their warning signs that they needed to go into mediation were there for years. Let's see when Russia's going to withdraw. The good news is they've left Chernobyl. So Chernobyl is back under the control of the Ukrainians. Unfortunately, the people that were there have radiation poisoning because they damaged a bunch of stuff that they didn't know what they were doing. So many of them are going to die now. Many of those soldiers that went into Chernobyl, they're being treated for radiation sickness. You don't know what you're doing. The movie's going to be great. Gonna make a movie about it someday. It's a hell of a movie. Can you imagine being a hostage inside a nuclear power plant facility with guns pointed at you? And you think it could be World War III? Can you imagine the stress those scientists were under? Okay, there's the violence there. Look at that war. The Knight of Swords is violent. The world is, look, they're going to continue to try and concentrate the fight probably to the southeast. They want to take Odessa. You guys got the heads up about Odessa 3 months ago. What did Putin say about Odessa? We want to control the Black Sea. He said, what did he say 3-4 months ago before he attacked? Watch this, right? Watch the Black Sea. See what I'm going to do here. Watch the Black Sea. Look what I'm going to do here. It's interesting because even Turkey, and Turkey was part of Turk Stream, right? Even Turkey is helping Ukraine now. But you can see that violence still going on there. They want Odessa. They want that port. They want that control. They want to control those prices. The world is going to the world is not going to let him control prices and control stuff coming in and out through Central Asia, which is going to be part of the inflation problem. It's not going to happen. The world is going to intercept, and this becomes the constant tension, right? No, you're not going to control things coming in and out of that port into Europe. Well, we want a piece of the pie. We're going to take everything that comes out of Odessa, and we just take 10 cents. We just take 10%, right? That's going to be good for them because they control that port. The world is not going to allow it to happen. There you have the aggressive behavior and the karma as the world gets involved because the world can't allow it to become involved. So what do? Do you make Ukraine NATO so that you can control that NATO can control the port And then at that point, Russia says, hey, what the hell are you doing? You said you weren't going to do that. Now you're taking over and controlling the damn port, which means that we're going to have to pay twice as much. See, it's getting complicated. Where they're at right now, the early stages, right? The early, just four corners of what should have been happening years ago. Peace negotiations about this. Four corners, that's all they got. Peace negotiations are ongoing, but Four of Wands is delicate peace, right? It's only four corners. That's all you got. It's like when you get married and you stand under a wedding canopy. The four walls, the four sticks are supposed to represent the walls of the marriage that you're building. You're going to build a home around. You just got four sticks right now. It's just the beginning. So that's the same with the peace treaty right now. The fact that the world is coming in, we got to do something. It can't be that everything is going to be expensive and poor, even in an ideal Russia where it was a wonderful country and everybody had great human rights. Controlling those ports and trade and tariffs, etc., could make things very difficult for Russia. The crossing card, negotiation back and forth, and also Knight of Wands would be quickly. They want this taken care of quickly. What is above them? Tower. They're worried that this entire thing could fall apart because NATO's going in. NATO wants Ukraine. NATO wants control. Even if they don't make Ukraine part of the EU, they want control of what's coming into that port. They want the oil. They want to be able to send grain out into Asia, into the middle. They don't want Russia to get a piece of the pie. Still a very dangerous situation. What they're sitting in, fighting. We built the port. It's our port. You don't have a right to take control. You don't have a right to come in and sweep and push us in and take all the money and take the resources. And we got to pay double. And it's we built the damn port. The money, honey. No money, no honey. That's what I always get with Putin. No money, no honey. Look at this. There's the peace offer. It's false. It's a false peace offer. The bottom line is the money. The bottom line is the trade. You keep talking out of your ass like you're such a nice person. This is Putin's feeling. And then look what you did. You sent these nut jobs into Chechnya. Then I had to incinerate them. It's always the same thing. You're pushing the West onto us. You're making inroads with NATO, inroads with the UN, inroads with the EU, taking port after port after port. Where they're at right now, the ports, there it is, the trade, the boats. Does anybody think this will this ever end? Realistically, the money. He wants money. Russia wants payment. It's the story. That's it. The hope and the fear. They don't want to walk away from a war. They don't want to walk away. The final outcome, there will be victory. I think victory should have been a trade negotiation so that it never got to this point in the first place. In the grave, but then, I've done remote viewings where you put yourself in the altered state and then talk to Biden, right? And then I said, but he's saying that they're closing in, and then you're taking all the ports, and then you're going to make him part of and then they're going to have to pay the tariff, and then you're going to take the Black Sea, and then they're going to be in financially. He's like, Whimsy, if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. But that's not the point. They built the port, so we should be able to negotiate. If you're a remote viewer, nobody really wants your opinion. Because you just tell people what the guy is saying. And the problem with being an empath is everybody makes sense. Well, that doesn't seem very fair that we should go in and take his stuff and their port and their this and their that, and then charge them extra for stuff that's coming in and then blocking when he's trying to earn a living through that trade. We block them, and then we declare war and we send terrorists in. That doesn't seem fair. So it's all about world trade. It's all about pricing. Victory within 1 year means that they will resolve the conflict. It also is a military card, though, which has me concerned. But it's still delicate. You can see from those cards, it's still very tentative. We will get through it. Possibly the whole thing will even out by January, because that's also my January card. But it's going to take a while. All right, Spirit Beyond the Stars, good to see you. She has a great question. Will the Democrat politicians ever stand up to the Republican politicians when they steal their votes, or are they going to continue to do nothing? Let's find out. Voting rights, gerrymandering, throwing out votes, refusing to acknowledge votes, cutting voter registration, preventing people from voting in certain areas. Let's see how this goes. Voter rights in America. Oh, I got everybody. Thank you, Jody Rogers, for the donation. That's very kind of you, by the way. Okay, Spirit Beyond the Stars. What's the future with voter rights in America? This is terrifying to me. Of every issue that we're dealing with right now, I mean, let me know what you guys think. But for me, I think the loss of our rights as voters is probably the number one most terrifying political issue for me in the United States. Not counting the votes, throwing out the votes. That just scares me to death. I agree, Spirit Beyond the Stars. Scary, scary. Gerrymandering. What's happening in Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida. It's just terrifying. Voters' rights in America. It's a rough road ahead for us when it comes to voters' rights in the United States. You can see here, 4 of Cups, nobody's happy. So when this goes back to the remote view I did, where the day is going to come when a computer takes over for gerrymandering, so that it's all computerized. So the computer will just do a grid 350. Like, it will count how many people to form a congressional district and then move on to the next one. And it will all be computerized, and it's going to drive both parties crazy. But a lot of states are going to just have a computer decide. It just does a graph. Okay, I've got a population now of 325 or however many is needed for a district. And then it moves on to the next, moves on to the next, moves on to the next, moves on to the next. It's completely blind. It's just based on population. You know, both parties are not going to be happy with that. And sure enough, the cards, the places that are starting to do this kind of computerization, Arizona is looking into it. So it's a remote we did last year, and now it's starting to happen. How do you guys feel about that? Non-biased, the computer does it based on population. It's blind. Nobody's happy. 4 of Cups, both parties unhappy. Look at that heartbreak. No one's going to be happy with it. But unfortunately, look, I don't see happiness over our voting for a while. Where we're at right now, people trying to reach across the aisle, people trying to deal with the issue. But again, 4 of Cups, we're going to be able to resolve a lot of these problems. I think the Department of Justice is going to be involved, because we have a 6 of Wands moving in, which is a success over the issue of voters' rights, possibly within 6 months. If you read Wands as months like I do, victory within 6 months, and then an offer. There are certain things you're not going to be allowed to do because they violate people's constitutional right to vote. At that point, the Justice Department can come in. What is above offers? Look at that page of pentacles in the fourth house. Look at that travel. Take a look at the Southwest, including Texas. There's Merrick Garland is watching these people. There it is, the ethos, the Constitution. I read the Hierophant as the Constitution. Over the issue, the sun. Yeah, there's a resolution coming in. Neither party is going to be happy with it. I think that the Justice Department is going to come in. And I think the bottom line is we're going to have to give up the power and give it to a computer. And I don't think anyone's going to be happy about it. But it's the only fair solution because this really looks computerized. Yeah, it can't be decided by people. There's too much bias. Yeah, they're going to transform the system. I don't know. I really want your guys' opinion about this. I see computers. It's computer algorithms. The masters are going to come in. It's going to become computerized. And then the judges are going to support the computer decisions. And then when we're unhappy, we're going to go to the courts and we're going to win some, we're going to lose some. Right now, as they move towards more of a computer-based way of looking at it, the Democrats have gained 17 seats, according to 538. Republicans have lost 6. So I kind of like the idea of computerizing everything, and having the mathematicians come in and the masters and just having it be blind. But I see both parties being unhappy. It'll probably keep the House for the Democrats. Fool takes a leap of faith. Here's the masters, who's computerized. We're going computerized. Yes, voter rights will be passed in the House and the Senate. But more than that, the AG goes in. That's basically how it looks. What an interesting question, and what an interesting set of cards. MSNBC is showing dead civilians all over the streets, devastating. Yeah, it's over for Putin. I think it's very likely that Putin will go to prison. I mean, because his cards just show betrayal everywhere. And I think they already tried to kill him before that. I think he was poisoned. It looked to me like kidney damage, too, when you went into that energy. The Russians are booby-trapping. Celtic Seer, she said that the Russians are booby-trapping everything as they leave. What a bunch of wingnuts. B. Gray asked, what do I think of the BBC? It's definitely state-run. It's very, it's a little bit conservative for me. That's why I watch a lot of news. I watch the Germans. I don't watch Russian news. But free press from free countries that have excellent journalistic standards, Germany, France, Al Jazeera, yes. I look a little bit at the Israeli journalism. J-Post tends to be biased conservative. Haaretz is more left-leaning. I look at both. Yeah, MSNBC is corporate news. I've been watching less and less of it, and I've been watching more of just good, solid journalism, like I said. And unfortunately, it means a lot of the time having to go and look at journalists outside the U.S. All right, here's a question from Artist Mama 1. Oh, we're doing okay. We need to leave pretty soon, though, because I think Linda's coming on a little later. All right. Did Jared Kushner give up evidence during his questions with January 6th committee on Trump Sr., and will he finally cooperate? I think I'm going to do one more question, then we'll call it a day because it's already 12:30. This was a fun get-together, though, wasn't it? And my cough went away. I took that 24-hour Allegra. It works like a charm. Makes for a much more pleasant get-together with us when Whimsy has taken her allergy medicine. Oh, Oh my God. Works great. I can breathe beautifully. Okay. So Jared Kushner, I think it goes back to him saying, my kids are not going to grow up with a parent in jail, a prison, or what did he say? Yeah, if he has to throw his father-in-law to the wolves, he'll do it. It's Jared Kushner. Who's he loyal to, really? These are not good people. What's happening with Jared Kushner? Okay. He's confused. This guy's a little bit confused. He gave as much information as he felt he had to, but he didn't give more than that. And ultimately, he's going to be fine. He was confused a little bit by everything that's happened. Maybe he's a little too close to it. He's refusing to give more information than's required. He made a good decision. He had good legal sound protection, and he has a 9 of Pentacles there, which would indicate that his personal interests are protected. Over the confusion, he was confused about what the Justice Department was doing. Pretty obvious to see that. Over his refusal to cooperate, was being foolish on the witness stand, so he was cautious. The Judgment, they don't know where to go from here. 2 of Pentacles with the information he gave. 2 of Pentacles would be juggling. And then the final outcome for him is he sits solid. He's protected. So he smooths out the troubled waters while he himself is fine, because King of Cups is the troubled water. He's grounded. He remains safe. Look at that. But I still saw potential jail for him down the road. But regarding this particular issue, he appears to not be involved. He wasn't involved in January 6th, so I don't see why he would be afraid. And I don't see any issues with, as far as he's concerned, with throwing his father-in-law to the wolves. Equus 3333, medical appointment. Not quite sure what the question is about medical appointment. A medical appointment with me, I do do telemedicine appointments for people who want to see a naturopathic doctor. And you can see me through drwhimsy.com, DoctorWhimsy.com. And I offer general health coaching and naturopathic medicine through drwhimsy.com. If that was what the question was. That's how you make an appointment to see me as a doctor. If you want to see me as a reader for a phone consult, and yes, I do see people who are in Europe. I just have you, if you have WhatsApp, I can call you on WhatsApp. You can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. The information is below the video. Yeah, Debbie, I think so. I think that they will protect themselves. I think they've always protected themselves, and they always will. Hi, Kiki K. Darling. Good to see you here. Hi, Carrie Dye. Thank you for the donation. Well, I've had a rollicking good time. And so I think I'm going to call it a day, go and get something to eat. And then if Linda's on at 1, then I want to make sure to catch that. I had fun. Did you all have fun having brunch with me? Did you all have a little snack or eat anything when we got together? Did you have some coffee or tea during your brunch? That coffee's lovely. Foggy Ozark was late to our brunch today. You're forgiven. We're just grateful you're here and that you give so selflessly of yourself every week, Foggy Ozark. Let's give a round of applause to our moderators. They come here every week. So grateful. Hi, Geriatric Sprig. Thanks for your help today. Geocosmic Valentine. Woohoo! You love my color combination. I was trying a different one with the brown and the red. Ah, Debbie Brady giving a little information about broke aristocrats. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. I'm a broke aristocrat. Yeah. I am. I'm a broke aristocrat. I just believe that my life, I'm going to make my life as happy and joyful as possible and help make other people as happy and joyful as possible and do it as affordably as possible because I think stressing out about money, no bueno. So, Broke Aristocrats is kind of like my gift. I don't make any money off that channel. I think I make like 20 bucks a month on that channel. But it just brings me joy to be around other people who grew up like I did, living the simple life. But hey, it doesn't mean we can't eat good food and enjoy the good life. So that's why I do Broke Aristocrats. Don't do me like that because I'm a broke aristocrat. Did I know it would rhyme? No, but I have friends that tease me. Some of them drive Uber and they invented songs. They're like, hey, I saw you on Broke Aristocrat. And this guy was like driving and he started singing, don't do me like that because I'm a broke aristocrat. And I was like, that actually sounds pretty good. Do you mind if I use that? He just invented it off the, it was a Uber driver. And he had been watching Broke Aristocrats, trying to live below his means. And he started inventing a song about it. Well, it's LA. We have so many talented people in Los Angeles. But it sounds pretty good, right? I'm a broke aristocrat. We need some of you musicians to turn it into a more than a one-line song. Andrew and the Queen, I don't know. My goodness. I would be so hurt if my son were to do that to another child. I just would, that would be worse than if my child died. Is to know that my child was a pedophile or do something like that to a child. I don't think I would ever get over. How could a mother get over something like that? Anybody else here a broke aristocrat? Yeah, Leo Puscaglia. Was that his name? He wrote Love. He was a broke aristocrat. Anytime they had no money because they were poor Italians, his mother, who was extremely frugal, she hid money everywhere. And she would pull out some coins hidden away in the kitchen. And she would go and get this beautiful chicken. And she would roast and she would make this beautiful Italian food. And her husband would come back from work and say, this is incredible. Where the hell did you get this money from? She said, I got the money. Shut up in your face. Eat. He said, that's a broke aristocrat. Leo Buscaglia. Yeah. I got the idea from him. There were days, he said, when we only had tomatoes and polenta. And she made it delicious. Just eating tomatoes and polenta. Isn't that cool? All right, love and light, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Again, if you're trying to get in for a reading, check out the information below. Quick readings through Wizio, also information is below. You guys are wonderful. I had so much fun. And I'll see you next time. Be well. Have a great Sunday, everyone. All right. Be sure and check out Linda G and all the other readers today and support them if you can.